Hello web slingers and slingerettes, my name is Spooter Pooter and welcome to Spider-Man 2017. I'm super excited for this game. I can't even do the intro. I've tried like 3 times before now and I crack up in the middle of each one. It's not even that funny. I just find stupid things funny. So, I'm super excited for this game in all honesty because Spider-Man's been like my favorite superhero for my whole life, so I'm kind of biased towards it, I'll be honest. But I'll also be honest that I love Tom Holland's acting so far. Now, this is being recorded Thursday, the day before Spider-Man Homecoming's release, which I'm going to see. Sorry, I had to have a moment. But his acting in Civil War was great, if you ask me, and I like that he portrayed it so perfectly. And from the trailers and everything, he's such a perfect Peter Parker as well as a perfect Spider-Man, and I love it. Okay, now the only thing that would be better to me was if he donned the original suit, but I love the new suit too. Let's see. Fair warning, I got all my information from watching the 8-minute and 58-second trailer up on Marvel Entertainment's YouTube channel. As well as a couple other websites which I'll mention throughout, but those are just for like background information. These are all notes I noticed and took down myself, and final warning, this video is going to be long. This is another one of those in-depth breakdowns, as you saw by the title, I'm sure. So, let's get right into the notes here. In the first 20 seconds of the trailer, we hear all units, 10-10, and then something that sounds like Aston 36 and Park, followed by repeat, all units be advised, shots fired at Fisk Towers. We see We see a few seconds later the camera panning around Fisk Tower in construction. I'll be honest, I didn't originally know what the police reporter was saying because of the police radio-esque filter on his voice, because it originally sounded like Sixth to me. No? Okay, not funny. I did a little research, and in the United States, the general use of the police code 1010 is fight in progress. Thank you, copradar.com. At least we know they did a little bit of research when making this game, so I'm going to expect that maybe there will be a code for anything Spidey related if there's any portion of this one where they think he's a bad guy or whatever. There's probably going to be a lot of different codes because I know in other games they've had things where you have to transport bombs and like bank robberies sometimes and stuff like that. So I'm sure they'll have other police codes, which some of the more nitpicky people will probably look into. I just pointed it out for this one just because it was a nice detail. Next up, we see Spidey himself come in front of the sun, you know, he's a little silhouette for a second there, and then land on a wooden platform. His new suit looks badass, if I might say so myself. And he's got the eyes that squint, which I like. I don't know why. They seem kind of useless just on the outside, but they look so nice, if you ask me. He's also just got the white and on his hands and around his body, and like the white spider on his chest too. That looks nice. Another detail that you'll notice that was incorporated is around the top of the neck, about here. I noticed that it's like, it almost looks like there's a bit of a fold over, so you can definitely tell where the mask goes on and where the suit ends. The first time I glanced at it, it just kind of looked weird to me because I'm a little OCD about things like that, and in other movies and stuff like that, they've always kind of made the line perfect from what I remember. So to think that a game has finally incorporated that feature looks really nice. In the cutscene, in that cutscene that starts going, it looks like they put a lot of work into making the web slinger look natural, with a nice flow of movement, as well as how we see the detailing of his muscularity under the suit when he lands on a column and turns to the bad guys. So, one thing I always thought was cool was that it's always been portrayed that like Spider-Man sticks to everything with ease, and I get that would make sense, but they never explain if it does or doesn't. So the idea of you can't really tell he's muscular under that suit until he's like seemingly putting effort into like sticking to the wall. Oh, in case you were wondering, this right here is for any pictures I'm going to throw up, so that's why I'm not in the center. Trust me, it's bothering me too. And then like with his web slinging, I know in some games it's always just been the very basic like L-shaped body where he's got his legs out in front of him and his body up, or he'll have just like a couple movements here and there. But in this one so far, they've definitely made it look very natural and very flowing. Another nice detail would be how the Spoder Boater himself starts talking. Yuri Lowenthal. Let me restart that one. One word I missed, and it totally threw off the whole note. Another nice detail would be how when Spoderboder himself starts talking, Yuri Lowenthal made sure to throw in the sound of his breathiness, which is good considering we've seen him active twice now in the span of probably 30 seconds. Spider-Man starts talking over a comm to someone named Yuri, kind of funny considering Spider-Man's voice actor is Yuri Lowenthal, who after some research shares a name with Yuri Watanabe. That's a really not fun name to say. Watanabe of Earth TRN 461 in the game Spider-Man Unlimited. I'm not entirely sure if this is the same Yuri, considering that Yuri was recruited into S.H.I.E.L.D's Spider-Man program, though it is possible that this is before that, considering Yuri used to double as police captain of the New York Police Department and the vigilante known as Wraith. Thanks, Marvel Wikia. So, the thing I mentioned about when he starts talking is the breathiness, because, I mean, I get he's a superhero, but he still has lungs and he still has his own agility. So I'm sure that if you're just like shooting webs and you're flying through the air and everything, you're probably gonna a little bit with your words there. I just ate lunch. I know I don't look like I had lunch because it probably looks like it's morning, but you know, I'm lazy. So, yeah, Yuri Lowenthal is the voice actor, and Yuri Watanabe might be our companion here. All it says is Yuri, though it doesn't show last name yet. I'd also like to point out that at the 6 minute and 40-second mark of this video, we're at 44 seconds into the trailer. Spider-Man is battling a group/gang/triad named the Demons, who seem to be taking out construction workers at Fisk Towers. Spidey even says, begin quote, "looks like the demons are moving in on Fisk's territory," end quote. You're certainly right there, Spoderboder, considering the miniature leader of that group of the demons orders his cronies to, begin quote, "find the rest, the boss wants them dead," end quote. We finally drop into the actual game. It's about 50 seconds, I believe. We drop into the game with a complete HUD right off the bat, and might I say, Spidey, damn, you got a flat ass. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, in the top left, we see a long blue bar with 100% on the right side of it, a small greenish bar with what appears to be a web shooter to the left of it, and a heartbeat monitor beside the web shooter and the blue bar. I'm going to assume this means that the blue bar is health, and the game is going to run off a percent system. They've likely got a poisoning or suffocating system in place with this, because a percent life bar would most accurately and efficiently show the player the rate of their decline. Man, that was a mouthful. Respectively, in the bottom left is the minimap. The bottom right will most likely be free for a majority of the game, reserved for hints and tutorials to pop up, I'm sure. And in that top right, we see 3 equally sized slanted rectangles with a box to the right of them that has 2 small white rectangles with only a thin light separating them. Now, I can't tell what the fuck this is supposed to be. I even zoomed in literally 500% on my screen, and still can't see what the shapes were supposed to be. Upon letting the trailer play for a few seconds longer, Spidey takes down a demon, and the bar farthest to the right fills up slightly, and X1 takes place of the little rectangles. This is obviously combo meter, and I feel stupid now. Okay, so considering we're almost at 9 minutes, I should probably keep going. The takedowns of the first 2 demons remind me a lot of Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, especially from my memory playing it back on the Wii. I know, I'm such a pimp. You want to have my children. Especially from my memory of Spider-Noir using the perched cocoons and the head slam that we see Spidey use here. Demon notices Spidey above the cocoon demon, and a meter above his head goes from nothing to yellow question mark, then a red exclamation point as he runs towards the web slinger. Now, something I'd like to point out is that back with Spider-Man Dimensions, there was, I think, 4, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there was 4 Spider-Man you played as. You played as the Amazing Spider-Man, the Spider-Man 2049 or something like that, I don't know, numbers, future, Spider-Noir, and Black Suit Spider. And Spider-Noir was really the only one with a lot of stealth from what I remember, because the rest of them were all like high speed pursuit, just like chasing and fighting. Yeah. Spidey takes down a few more demons, and even using a gadget that slams the target into a wall and sticks him there. So it's like the guy was walking over here, the one that had the little red exclamation point, and it goes whoosh, whoosh, I'm gonna try to see if I can stick a web PNG like over that. No, okay. And then he sticks that guy there. A crane. He uses a crane to knock down 2 demons, not kill them. Might I add? I'm sure we'll be able to kill people in the game, but Spider-Man sort of, from what I remember, lives by that rule of thumb as well, that he doesn't kill. And he finally swoops in with a badass tackle where he pins the demon to the ground with webbing. That was cool. That one I gotta say, I like Spidey's parkour seems very clunky from the fact that he stops for each ledge instead of using momentum, but I'll wait to see how it plays out. I'll give the producers credit though, the transition from game to cutscene was smooth and unnoticeable. The QuickTime event where Spidey saves that construction worker from the demon is super smooth, and it looks very pretty. So, what I want to say about the parkour was that we see, after the tackle, we see him, like, hop onto the first ledge of, like, metal crate, you know, the metal crates that are all over Shipwreck or whatever it's called for Modern Warfare. That one. He hops onto the ledge of that and then jumps. So it's like, he doesn't use it and bounce off right away. So I'm going to assume they did that on purpose just to show, I don't know, how he looks when he does it. But it's possible that, like, you can continuously go. You don't have to stop there. I think they just did that for the reveal. Sorry, I should say that this is a mix of a trailer breakdown as well as the little gameplay that we have. So it's basically an E3 breakdown of it. The combat looks phenomenal. What with Spidey's ability to temporarily blind an opponent quickly, dodge attacks, and attack gracefully. Enemies glow red when they're about to attack, giving players a chance to dodge or counterattack. It also gives that really nice old school feeling. Enemies even attack from different directions at the same time, giving combat a much riskier, more realistic feel, as well as making the players stay on their toes and be attentive. So with the combat, you don't expect Spidey to be like the BAM! BAM! Because he's not. He's not the big dude. He's like very smooth and sharp with each action, and he like and then, like I said, the enemies glow red when they're going to attack. They also attack from different distances, so you might be getting shot at and you might be getting, like, swung at. So I think a lot of Spider-Man games have done this, where it's like, it warns you, but it almost reminds me of Assassin's Creed, so that it's like, you can play it completely defensively if you really choose, but at the same time, you can play it completely offensively, or you can do either, like, a mix. It's up to you. In the next cutscene, we see Spidey grab a phone. We're almost done, sorry. I think. In the next cutscene, we see Spidey grab a phone before it hits the ground, answering it to find a prisoner. Clearly, the two don't get along, and Spider-Man asks him who leads the demons. The prisoner, who for some reason is allowed to use a phone and, like, FaceTime Spider-Man, bro, tells the wall crawler that he needs to keep his men alive, and then he'll maybe tell him. This man is later revealed as Wilson Fisk. We next see a fat demon jump out of a helicopter to land on a roof. Spidey had just fought off a couple demons, and it's clear to see that this man's hands are glowing white with black around the whiteness. The man lands, causing a sort of explosion in a small area around him. People got superpowers. Spidey naturally dodges the explosion, then initiates combat with the demon. The demon seems to introduce a twist to the usual stun them to hit them since they can block feature. This time it seems Spidey was just thrown aside when he hit the demon's block. Spidey uses the environment to break the guard, then hits the demon. So what I mean is kind of like, in a lot of the older games I remember, I don't think they do it so much in modern, but a lot of the older games they have the AIs that would just be like, block, 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 block. No, wait. Block! And they're usually the guys that you have to be really quick and hit them from behind, or you have to, like, use a really powerful attack to break their guard, but during the charge up of, like, powerful attack, they could just quick hit you. So, up and away! Sorry. So, that definitely seems to be a new feature. And at least they're giving an explanation as to why some guys are able to block now and some aren't. But I am a little bit sketchy on how this power thing is going to go. The demon has a deadly swing downward, which drops Spidey's health by 20%, and the health doesn't immediately begin to recover. It actually doesn't begin to recover at all during that fight, from what I remember. But you also notice that the demon throws 3 or so big hits, which are dodged each time, and the demon then appears to be tired for a few moments, giving Spidey the chance to attack. So that's another thing. It seems like these brutes, they're not just going to sit there and block the entire time like older guys. They're also going to like try to attack you with heavy hits. And after like about 3, because that's what happened here, 3 hits, the guy will become tired, which gives Spider-Man the player as well to attack. Spider-Man and the player. It's like they're 2 different people sometimes. Fisk tells the wall crawler that the demon's leader is on the roof, and we see a man strike down a construction worker with a sword, matching the aura and color of the fat demon's hands from earlier. So that means like the sword is like white and black. It's almost like something straight out of Destiny, I swear. His skin and eyes temporarily pulsate the same colors. Then he boards a helicopter. Spider-Man gasps the name Martin Lee before trying to stop the helicopter, which is met by the man's hands firing off a giant blast of that black and white aura. God, 16 minutes. I really hope my phone isn't gonna run out of like stuff on me here. That would suck. The lighting so far is just perfection, just so you know. The lighting so far is just perfection, just so you know. Spidey runs to catch a falling crane, and we see dust and such fly up as he drags against the concrete roof. With a series of intense camera angles and quick-time events, Spider-Man ends up stopping the crane from falling just short of hitting a street of busy traffic. The web-slinger enacts hot pursuit of Martin Lee's helicopter, intending to stop the destruction it's causing and hopefully catching the criminal himself. So, this is, I'm going to pause here and transition, so, just in case. I'm back. Alright. So I'm just going to pick right back up because this is all going into one video anyway. We see Spider-Man's first in-game free web slinging, into which it has adapted my favorite system for webs. The player's webs will shoot to the nearest building, and it seems like though Spidey leans that way, we aren't sure if the player model drags in that direction. A box shows up on the side of the screen with the name Captain Watanabe, meaning this is the future or current vigilante named Wraith. So, what I mean by free web slinging is that, like, it's not like you're gonna shoot to right there and pull right there, and you're not gonna shoot to right there and pull right there. I think it was called, like, quick shooting in some of the other games. I don't remember. But basically it's just however you swing. So, like, when you shoot at a web, you're gonna stick to the nearest building to either side, and you're gonna, like, your character model is like this or like this, depending on what building it's to, but it's like, we can't tell if you're gonna drag that way or if it's gonna be like you'll be pointing wherever. So Spider-Man dashes through collapsed water towers, runs on walls, leaps around with phenomenal ease. The quick webbing as well as the free webbing is mixed really nicely and smoothly, which means the travel should feel natural and completely in the player's control, as well as a little linear. The game smoothly changes into a cutscene where we see Spidey and the helicopter's wrecking block enter the top floor of a building. The wall crawler runs to the office, dodging objects instinctively and including a single QuickTime event. The QuickTime lets Spidey attach to the object, only to crash through a roof and stop moving. The player takes over again and has to sprint through a collapsing office, then jump through the windows on the other side of the floor. So, that scene was a little confusing. The helicopter has, like, sort of like a giant generator, I want to say, on its attached to it, because Spidey had a web. Yeah. And Spider-Man was trying to stop that because it was causing a bunch of destruction. Is this... There we go. Much better. I feel like I was like, to stay in the camera. Spidey dodges rockets, then speeds through the open doors of Lee's helicopter. He smoothly takes out the demon which was shooting the rockets while asking, "Hey, is this the flight to Newark?" The player enacts a restricted environment combat with Martin Lee, with 3 places to stick to: left side, bottom, and right side. The web slinger takes the helicopter down, quickly doing a quick time event to save the helicopter from hurting anyone on the ground. The chopper loses its tail upon impact to the road, which Spidey saves with another manual aim quick time event. So this, I'll wait. The player takes Spidey's perspective while falling and spams L2R2 to shoot webs at the helicopter, saving the civilians on the ground. Spider-Man checks on Martin Lee, but is attacked, and thus the camera spins into showing Marvel Spider-Man. So, That one was a little more confusing. As he's like running through the one where the player takes over, running through the office, there's rockets being shot at you as well as stuff falling, and you have to dodge rockets and all that. And the helicopter has sort of those like double open doors things, on the sides of it. So he jumps through one of those, kicks the rocket launcher guy out, and while he's like flying through it, he's like, "Hey, is this flight Newark?" Um, what I mean by restricted environment combat is, sometimes I'll call it rec. It's whatever, REC. Basically, you have like very limited spots to be on. It's not like you can just walk around in circles, stuff like that. So you're on the left side, you're on the bottom side, and you're on the right side, and you can just crawl around here, and you have restricted actions and stuff like that. He he takes a little panel off that's up near the blades, and he like destroys it, which causes the helicopter to spin out of control and everything. There's a little cutscene where it like hits the ground and it goes off. Um, the tail comes off, and Spidey has to like save the tail by like, your aim is started over here, and if the circle is over here, you have to like move the aim and press a button as you're aiming at the thing. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and that little thing does move. So, and then like what I thought was really cool, Spidey does like a huge backflip, and the camera like takes place like right here. You can't see his head, but it's basically about there because it's between his arms, and it just says to press L2 R2, and he's just. So far, we don't have a release date other than the year 2018, unfortunately. We also see at the bottom Marvel, PS4, and Insomniac Games. Insomniac has worked on multiple games for PlayStation and iOS and other platforms over the years. Some titles including Spyro the Dragon and other Spyro titles, Ratchet and Clank PS2 and other Ratchet and Clank titles, Sunset Overdrive for the Xbox One, a few single titles, and finally now Spider-Man 2017. Overall, I'm really excited for Spider-Man 2017, especially the idea of Spidey getting infected with this weird aura, maybe, and most of all, the idea of Yuri taking on the role as Wraith, possibly working side by side with Spider-Man. I've never personally played a game where you have like two Spider-Men playing with each other. That would be cool, and that could open up the opportunity for co-op in the game as well, though I wouldn't put your bet on it. Alright everyone, my name is Jugs, or you can call me Spoder, or you can call me Tom if you feel so inclined. I appreciate your time today, and I really hope you had a great day, and I hope you continue to have a great day, or night, or evening, or maybe you're sitting out right side of my window right now, and I wouldn't even know, you little creep. No, you're not. Okay. Thank you, Survivors, if this is up on my personal channel, and thank you, Smitties, if this is up on the Smid Winer channel.